Greetings, everyone. Another story related to social media influencer Dylan Mulvaney, and more specifically, it's about Bud Light, the beer owned by Anheuser-Busch. It seems now that the LGBTQ community have also turned on them. So if you'll remember, Bud Light had a lot of problems because they decided to put Dylan Mulvaney onto their cans of beer, at least for a little while. And lots of people who were Bud Light drinkers before, obviously, decided to boycott the product. It cost Bud Light a lot of money. They got scared. They backtracked and basically said, yeah, we didn't mean that, sorry. And now it seems that the woke mob who they were playing to in the first place have gotten upset now that they backtracked, and they've now decided to start boycotting them. So it seems like Bud Light are just digging themselves deeper and deeper into a hole. Let's take a look at this article that was just recently written about this whole situation. It says, Bud Light now being snubbed by LGBT plus bars in latest twist in Dylan Mulvaney trans row. So Dylan Mulvaney, just a reminder, I'm sure most of you know, is this guy who's been prancing around for quite a long time, saying that he's a woman, putting up TikTok videos, become very famous on TikTok, got many million followers. And for some reason, the marketing team, or the lady who was in charge of the marketing team at that time, at least, decided that it would be a good idea for Bud Light to bow to the woke mob and put his face on the can. As I said in a previous video that I made about this, Bud Light, by the way, have been catering to the LGBT community for quite a while, and there are a number of examples of how they've done that. But it seems that this was a step too far and caused a big boycott and a heck of a lot of money to be lost by the Anheuser-Busch company who owns Bud Light. So Bud Light's parent company, Anheuser-Busch, has come under fire in an ongoing row about trans rights. Bud Light's trans rights row has escalated yet again after several LGBT plus venues started ditching the beverage over claims influencer Dylan Mulvaney had been abandoned. 5 LGBT plus bars in Chicago dropped Bud Light after Anheuser-Busch CEO said he never intended to be part of a discussion that divides people. Sidetrack Bar, a gay bar which is known for its show tune nights, announced its boycott on social media. In a post on Instagram, Sidetrack Bar said, for 41 years, Sidetrack has encouraged liquor and beer companies that have wished to garner the LGBTQ plus customer base to actively support our community. The statement added Bud Light's recent decision to drop the Dylan Mulvaney campaign to put on leave those who created it, as well as the statement by its CEO, wrongfully validates the position that it is acceptable to acquiesce to the demands of those who do not support the trans community and to wish to erase LGBTQ plus visibility. So they're basically furious at Bud Light for taking a step back and saying, oh, maybe we didn't mean to do this. And they're basically saying, you've bowed to the pressure of the conservatives who want to eradicate the LGBT community, or at least the trans community, and to erase the LGBTQ plus visibility, according to them. Sidetrack Bar went even further by confirming it will no longer sell Anheuser-Busch products until the beer manufacturer can clearly demonstrate they will not acquiesce to voices of hate that wish to erase LGBT plus existence. Chicago's Two Bears Tavern Group, that has 4 bars in the Windy City, echoed Sidetrack's sentiments. The company said that Anheuser-Busch's decision to drop its support of Mulvaney shows how little Anheuser-Busch cares about the LGBTQIA plus community. They use the even longer version of the acronym there. And in particular, transgender people who have been under unrelenting attack in this country. And there's Dylan Mulvaney's beautiful face drinking from a Bud Light can. It added, we must also hold brands accountable if they take active steps against LGBTQ plus equality, visibility, and safety. Mulvaney, 26, faced a ferocious conservative backlash after Bud Light's parent company struck a sponsorship deal with him, basically. American singer Kid Rock even shot several cases of Bud Light with an assault rifle. I showed that a few days ago in the video I made about Dylan Mulvaney. Republican 2024 hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy weighed in on the debate in the opinion piece for Fox News. By the way, Vivek Ramaswamy, just in case you didn't know, is the guy essentially responsible for the firing of Don Lemon from CNN. Don Lemon had been there for 17 years, and then in this debate that he had with Vivek, he basically got so hot under the collar that they decided that was it, enough was enough, and they got rid of him. It was a debate on race, and it of course got Don Lemon very hot and angry. Let me play you a little clip from this, and I want to point out to you the exact moment that I think was basically what got him fired. A very specific moment in that interview. So let me just play you that. I'm going to put it back a little bit, but basically this is them kind of in the heat of an argument on race that they're having. Don Lemon and Vivek Ramaswamy. Here we go.
Black people did not get to enjoy the other freedoms until their Second Amendment rights were secured. And I think that that's one of the lessons that we learned.
Aren't allowed to enjoy the freedoms.
I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you. And I think you're doing a disservice to our country by failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
And you live in this country, then you can disagree with me, but we're not. You mentioned.
There you go. So he does the odd, when you're in black skin, then you can have an opinion on anything that black people have gone through in this country. And Vivek responds really well to this.
I disagree. John, I think we have to be able to talk about these issues in the open, regardless of the color of our skin. Black Americans today, to say that, compare that to 1865 and 1964, absolutely have equal rights in this country.
I think it's insulting to black people. It's insulting to me as an African American. I don't want to sit here and argue with you because it's infuriating for you to put those things together. It's not right. Your telling of history is wrong.
What part of the history was wrong?
What part of the history was wrong? That the Civil War was fought. You're making people think that the Civil War was fought for black people, only for black people to get guns and for black people to have.
The Civil War was fought for black people in this country to get freedoms, a noble mission. And I think that even after we succeeded, we had to actually secure those freedoms.
To reduce it in a speech at the NRA to say you're making people think, or you're trying to say that black people to get guns, that was the reason that you're there at the NRA. That was the reason for the Civil War.
It is a
fact. That's reductive.
It's not
and
reductive.
I think it's insulting. There are a whole plethora of reasons that for the Civil War.
With due respect, I find your explanation reductive and actually insulting, including to black Americans, to say that black people today, compared to 1964, 1865, haven't made progress in part because of the freedoms we secured. And the Second Amendment was part of what secured that freedom.
I cannot keep a thought if you guys are talking to me in my ear. So hang on 1 second. So to say that.
That is it. That is that moment. Let me just rewind it back a little bit. It basically, during this debate, his producers are saying to him, okay, let's move it on now, because, you know, you've had this heated discussion on race. Let's move it along. And he basically says to them, look, he can't continue having this discussion if you keep talking to him in the earpiece. So he pulls it out. Let me just play that once more.
The freedoms we secured. And the Second Amendment was part of what secured that freedom.
I cannot keep a thought if you guys are talking to me in my ear. So hang on 1 second. So to say that black people, say what you said again.
So he completely loses his train of thought because the producers are talking to him in the earpiece, and he gets mad at them. Basically says he can't keep a thought if you keep. I can't keep a thought if you keep talking into my ear. And I think that's what did it. Honestly, that was the thing that got him fired, because they were like, okay, we've told him to move along. He just completely ignored us. He's doing his own thing. And he's like, get out, stop talking to me. I'm having this debate now, and I'm going to continue having it without you talking at me. Anyway, back to the story. So that's Vivek Ramaswamy. So he weighed in on this whole debate. He said, now the King of Beers is paying homage to the newest cultural zeitgeist by paying trans activist Dylan Mulvaney to prod men into dressing like Audrey Hepburn while drinking beer. For a drink that was once a blue-collar staple of Middle America, this isn't a winning sales strategy. Anyway, that is pretty much the most important stuff in the article. And then at the end, you have this incredible figure. The 171-year-old brewing company saw its value plummet by more than $4 billion in April. That's what putting Dylan Mulvaney onto their can cost them. $4 billion. That's £3 billion. Incredible. And now they're probably going to lose even more because that's all the customers who got sick of the woke stuff that have just decided to boycott them. And now they're also going to get boycotted by the LGBTQ community. So they're going to lose even more. This is what happens when you start trying to pander. You start pandering, and as they say, go woke, go broke. Some people are predicting that Anheuser-Busch might actually go bankrupt. I don't really know about their financial position, if that's a realistic prediction or if they're just saying that to sort of have a dig at them. I don't know. I haven't looked into their finances, but certainly they are in a lot of trouble for first bowing to the woke mob and then trying to backtrack and then angering the woke mob. Just don't get involved in any of that stuff. They could have just kept going as they were. I mean, like I said, they were already doing, you know, lots of pro LGBTQ stuff anyway, but then they just had to push it further. They had to hire this woman as the head of their marketing team. And then she just had to go even further. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for her. Anyway, folks, that's it from me during this video. I do appreciate you watching. Do give it a like if you liked it. Do subscribe if you're not subscribed. Ciao for now.